What if your son came to you and asked you to buy him a Barbie doll?
I would not buy my son a Barbie doll.
Why?
Because he's a boy. Boys don't do that.
Oh, really? Really?
Absolutely.
What if your son wants to play with a Barbie doll? You cannot force your son to play with what is meant to be.
Of course I can.
Or a boy.
Of course I can.
Can't?
So as a parent, I can't tell my kid what to do. So you think, well, who's the parent and who's the child? So if my child says, give me a gun, can I shoot it? Oh, you know what? He should have the right to shoot the gun? Is that what you're telling me? No! I have a right of what to give my child.
I'm saying, if your son asked for a Barbie doll, you wouldn't buy it.
The answer is no. 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 My son is not playing with no Barbie doll. And he ain't wearing pink. And he's not gonna dress like no girl. He's not gonna put on a bra. And he's not gonna put on any panty.
I just showed you how much of a man you are there.
Oh, I'm a real man. Absolutely. I'm a real man. You got that. Real man. And my son will be a real man. My son ain't playing with no Barbie dolls.
So I think with these conversations, because when I was a kid, I picked up a Barbie doll and I hated it straight away. Like I think I used my Barbie doll, the Barbie doll that I picked up in the wrestling ring I had, just to have the wrestlers beat her up. But I think that this conversation, that sounds a bit messed up, but I picked up a thing that my cousin must have had, and I picked up and I was like, she can pretend to be Trish Stratus or something, I don't know. But I think that conversation I think everyone's just getting a bit angry because on one side it feels like they're trying to feminize little boys, and so they're giving them all this like girly stuff on purpose to take them away from things that Gen Z deem to be in line with toxic masculinity. For example, I've heard people in a particular gaming circle saying things like Duke Nukem or Johnny Bravo or Action Man, those sort of things all contribute to stereotypical toxic masculinity, which is a whole load of nonsense. So I understand why there's so much pushback to say I'm not giving my kid this stuff, because all you're seeing on the TV now is guys acting like women, wearing pink, playing with Barbie dolls, doing things that you wouldn't usually see men doing. Back in the day, there was never any like sort of discussion around it. I saw kids playing with Barbie dolls, but it was never like a big deal. It was just like whatever. But everything's become so polarized now. Like even me, when I see a boy playing with a Barbie doll, I'm like, what have the parents done? Like, how did they get there? So I don't know. Like it doesn't necessarily mean that you're trying to indoctrinate your child into anything if they want to play with a Barbie doll, but because of the way our culture's gone, I can 100% understand why parents are very, very apprehensive with allowing their children to play with Barbie dolls or wear pink. Pink was never like a super feminine thing to me when I was growing up, because I was watching Dragon Ball Z and I saw Vegeta wearing a pink top. So I didn't associate that with...
I don't think the colour has anything to do with it.
Yeah, I didn't associate it with pink. I grew up watching anime, and a lot of anime characters were very flamboyant and they would wear pink. Like my favourite anime is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. The guys in there wear pink and they're very flamboyant. But I understand why the culture in the West has become so polarized, why parents are like, I'm not allowing my kid to do that. I get it.
And I remember when we were in school, there was a period when pink was the colour for boys. Like everyone was wearing it.
Yeah, my school uniform was, I think it was burgundy. It was kind of light reddish or whatever. I don't know, like back in the day it wasn't a problem, but I get how it's a problem now, because they are telling boys that everything is toxic that they like doing. Like boys like playing with fake guns or fake swords or Action Man, or like playing fighting games and stuff, and guys like play fighting, and they're telling boys that things that we've been doing since God knows when, that it's not okay to do it, and they're sort of just giving them all this feminine stuff. So whilst back in the day like it wouldn't have been a problem, it is definitely a problem now. There's definitely something going on. It seems to me that there's some sort of indoctrination going on, and I would probably take the Barbie doll away now as well.
I don't understand how people can have an issue with the way other people want to raise their kids. Like as a parent, you should be able to decide what your kid can and can't play, or what they do and don't do. Like there's a lot of parents that probably wouldn't let their kids play Call of Duty because they think it's too violent and stuff.
Oh yeah, it's got an age rating on it.
Yeah, and but some people still allow their kids under that age rating to play it. And I think, everyone raises their kids differently, and no one else should be bothered or have an opinion or say on how you decide to raise your kid.
I don't completely agree with that, because I do think some people raise their kids in very abusive ways and very selfish ways as well. I think that some people try to impose their beliefs and their way of doing things onto children that don't want anything to do with that sort of stuff. So when I see that kind of stuff, especially now with the way things are and the way everyone seems split right down the middle, you can kind of tell when you get a lefty parent, you can kind of tell when you get a conservative parent. Because everything's become so polarized, it has naturally, it's gone in like further into the corners. But there are some parents that are raising their kids and you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, but do you not think that could also work in the same way of if your kid wants to play with something and you're stopping them from doing it, is also unfair?
And I wouldn't say unfair, but what you were saying, don't question. I think that you can question. I would 100% question the parents that are taking their kids to family-friendly drag shows. I think those people are crazy. So I can't actually do anything because I'm not the parent, but I would 100% question it. I think that there are very abusive parents out there. I think there's parents that do really weird things. I think there's parents that force things onto their children, whether it's things that I might agree with or not agree with. I don't think it's wrong to question anyone, personally. It doesn't have to be my child. If someone questioned me and how I was raising my child, I'll push back on them, but I wouldn't say to them, you can't speak. You can speak if you want. You might be chatting shit and I'll push back on it, but you can speak if you want to.
I don't know. I just wouldn't ever want anyone to try and tell me what I can and can't do with my kids.
But like, if you saw like your brother, for example, doing something that you were like, this doesn't seem right, you wouldn't say to him, like, bro, what are you doing?
To be honest with you, it would depend. Again, it's subjective. It would depend because I don't involve myself with other people's parenting skills. Like I've seen some parents who, you know, for example, their kid could be really naughty, like their kids out and disrupting other kids and doing so much bad stuff, and they don't shout at their kids. But I would never take that step and get involved because that's their prerogative. That's the way that they want to raise their kid.
Really? You wouldn't? So if that little kid was doing something to make your life harder or make your kid's life harder when you're out, you wouldn't turn around to the parent and say, can you sort your brat out?
If they're doing something deliberately to, say, my child, and it's affecting my child, like let's say they're all on a bouncy castle and they're like fly kicking towards my child, then of course I'm going to say something to the parent, like sort your kid out. But if the kid's not disrupting my kid and it's just being naughty in general, I'm not going to involve myself. That's their business. I don't know. It
depends on the situation. Most times I'll probably like leave it to the parent to do what they're doing, but sometimes I might be like, you need to sort your kid out. It really depends. It's all going to be subjective and dependent on the situation. I wouldn't say I'm just going to by default get involved in what people are doing. But that woman that was shouting at him for not wanting to give the kid a Barbie, my question would be to her, why do you care so much that he doesn't want to give his kid a flipping Barbie?
Yeah, but a lot of people care about that because they feel like you're
stifling the kid's curiosity.
I
think that's dangerous in itself as well.
I agree with you. Stifling the kid's curiosity can be dangerous, but I don't think that's why these people care so much.
They care because they want the kids to play with Barbie dolls. That's the thing.
I think that they a lot of these parents, these I'm gonna call them like radicals with the way they're behaving. It's like their children are like props to them, and it's like, oh look, my kid wears rainbow stuff and my kid wears pink stuff. I'm a great parent. It's like, no, bro. You also probably force that on that kid as well. It goes both ways. So I don't know, like raise your kids however you want. If you're doing something outlandish, then of course people are gonna call you out on it. But by default, I'm not going to buy my kid Barbie dolls. If he picks one up and he starts playing with it, I'm not really going to think too much about it. It's a kid. Like, kids are curious.
So if you had just a son, you've not got a daughter yet, and your son says, Daddy, can you buy me a Barbie doll, please? Are you going to buy him a Barbie doll?
No, probably not. Probably not.
Why not?
Because I don't want my boy playing with Barbie dolls. I can't really think of a compelling reason for why he would. I don't know if you can even say compelling. I don't know. I'm not a parent. I don't feel like I'm equipped to answer this question.
What's the consequence in your head of him playing with a Barbie doll?
I don't know. I don't know what the consequence is.
So why are you apprehending? Why are you stifling his curiosity even if you don't know? Shouldn't you have a solid reason to stifle someone's curiosity?
Well, that's why I'm not a parent, so I don't know how to answer this question. Maybe if I was a parent and I've got that bond with this kid now who is like he's me, you know, like he's my offspring or whatever, then maybe my perception might change, but I'm not a parent. Just looking at it from the outside, looking in, there's a bunch of things that my kid could ask me for that could technically be stifling their curiosity that I can say no to because I am the parent. So ultimately it's my decision.
That's my point.
yeah, there's a lot of things a kid might say, Dad, buy me this, Dad, buy me that. I'm going to say, no, you're a kid. Like, you shouldn't be playing with that. It could be
Because
anything.
that's an element of danger, right? Like the gun example that the guy used in the video. But
I think the danger that people find with the Barbie doll is the way that a lot of the way things are now. It's not like back then. If I asked my mum, I want to play with a Barbie doll, she probably would have laughed and said, yeah, go on. But now, because of the way like schools are behaving with children and what they're teaching them and the way everything is so polarizing online, and we've seen the things on TikTok, I think parents are a bit scared to let their kids play with Barbie dolls because they feel like their children are being indoctrinated into things and shown things that they shouldn't be shown. So in this day and age, I'd probably say no for all of those reasons. Not because I think there's anything wrong with the kid, because I'm probably worried where did you hear that? Did you hear that on TikTok? Did you hear boys should be playing with Barbie dolls? It's so hard to know where kids are getting their information from now because it's coming from left, right, and center. That in this day and age, yeah, I would see it as potential danger.
what if he said, I didn't hear it from anyone, I just saw a girl playing with it in school and I want one now?
It would, I would need to evaluate the situation properly. If he said that to me, I'd probably go home, and if he's on TikTok or anything, I'd probably go through his search history, see what he's been looking at. If I feel confident that no one's been telling my kid you should be playing with Barbie dolls and it's just something that he's curious about, I don't think I'd have a massive deal with it. But because of the society that we live in today, I would have to do some background checks. So yeah, there could potentially be danger there. I don't think I'm unfair in saying that, especially what we see on the internet.
I don't think you're unfair in saying that, no.
Yeah. Got to be careful what kids are looking at these days. There are a lot of people telling little boys that it's okay to do X, Y, and Z when it's not. Or at the very least, it's not okay to tell them that it's okay to do that. If a kid's
Let
curious,
them make their own decisions when they're old enough to make their own decisions.
yeah, if a kid's curious about something, as long as it's not like going to cause immediate harm, I would say let them, just let them pick it up and see what it is. But if you've got someone like, like that Jeffrey Marsh guy, where he's opening the videos going, hey kids, it's okay to play with Barbie dolls, and there's no such thing as boys and girls, I'm going to have a big problem with that. That's a problem. Maybe my kid heard it from there, and I don't want him taking advice from Jeffrey Marsh or Dylan Mulvaney.